Connective tissues are most abundant and widely distributed in the body of complex animals. They are named connective tissues because of their special function of linking and supporting other tissues and organs of the body. They range from soft connective tissues to specialized types, which include cartilage, bone, adipose, and blood. In all connective tissues except blood, the cells secrete fibers of structural proteins called collagen or elastin. The fibers provide strength, elasticity, and flexibility to the tissue. These cells also secrete modified polysaccharides, which accumulate between cells and fibers and act as matrix or ground substance. Connective tissues are classified into three types: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. Loose connective tissue has cells and fibers loosely arranged in a semi-fluid ground substance, for example, areolar tissue present beneath the skin. Often, it serves as a support framework for epithelium. It contains fibroblasts, which are cells that produce and secrete fibers, macrophages, which are large phagocytic cells found in tissues or as mobile white blood cells, especially at sites of infection, and mast cells, which are found in connective tissue and release histamine and other substances during inflammatory and allergic reactions. Adipose tissue is a type of loose connective tissue located mainly beneath the skin. The cells of this tissue are specialized to store fats. The excess nutrients, which are not used immediately, are converted into fats and stored in this tissue. Fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed in the dense connective tissues. The orientation of fibers shows a regular or irregular pattern and are called dense regular and dense irregular tissues. In the dense regular connective tissues, the collagen fibers are present in rows between many parallel bundles of fibers. Tendons, which attach skeletal muscles to bones, and ligaments, which attach one bone to another, are examples of this tissue. Dense irregular connective tissue has fibroblasts and many fibers, mostly collagen, that are oriented differently. This tissue is present in the skin. Cartilage, bones, and blood are various types of specialized connective tissues. The intercellular material of cartilage is solid and pliable and resists compression. Cells of this tissue, known as chondrocytes, are enclosed in small cavities within the matrix secreted by them. Most of the cartilages in vertebrate embryos are replaced by bones in adults. Cartilage is present in the tip of the nose, outer ear joints, trachea, larynx, between adjacent bones of the vertebral column, limbs, and hands in adults. Bone cells are embedded in a hard matrix that is composed of calcium and phosphorus compounds. Bones have a hard and non-pliable ground substance rich in calcium salts and collagen fibers, which give bone its strength. It is the main tissue that provides structural frame to the body. Bones support and protect softer tissues and organs. The bone cells, or osteocytes, are present in spaces called lacunae. The bone marrow in some bones is the site of production of blood cells. Two bones can be connected to each other by another type of connective tissue called the ligament. This tissue is very elastic and has considerable strength. Ligaments contain very little matrix. Tendons connect bones to muscles and are another type of connective tissue. Tendons are fibrous tissue with great strength but limited flexibility. Blood is a fluid connective tissue containing plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. It is the main circulating fluid that helps in the transport of various substances. Areolar connective tissue is found between the skin and muscles, around blood vessels and nerves, and in the bone marrow. It fills the space inside the organs, supports internal organs, and helps in the repair of tissues. A muscular tissue. Each muscle is made of many long cylindrical fibers arranged in parallel arrays. These fibers are composed of numerous fine fibrils called myofibrils. Muscle fibers contract or shorten in response to stimulation, then relax or lengthen, and return to their uncontracted state in a coordinated fashion. Muscles contain special proteins called contractile proteins, which contract and relax to cause movement. Muscles are of three types: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. Muscular tissues. Skeletal muscle tissue. Voluntary muscles. We can move some muscles by conscious will. Such muscles are called voluntary muscles. These muscles are also called skeletal muscles as they are mostly attached to bones and help in body movement. Under the microscope, these muscles show alternate light and dark bands or striations. As a result, they are also called striated muscles. The cells of this tissue are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate, meaning they have many nuclei. Skeletal muscle tissue is closely attached to skeletal bones. In a typical muscle, such as the biceps, striated or striped, skeletal muscle fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion. A sheath of tough connective tissue encloses several bundles of such muscle fibers. Smooth muscle tissue. Involuntary muscles. The movement of food in the alimentary canal or the contraction and relaxation of blood vessels are involuntary movements. We cannot really start them or stop them simply by wanting to do so. Smooth muscles or involuntary muscles control such movements. They are also found in the iris of the eye, in ureters, and in the bronchi of the lungs. The cells are long with pointed ends, spindle-shaped and unenucleate, meaning they have a single nucleus. They are also called unstriated muscles. The smooth muscle fibers taper at both ends, fusiform or spindle-shaped, and do not show striations. Cell junctions hold them together, and they are bundled together in a connective tissue sheath. The wall of internal organs such as the blood vessels, stomach, and intestine contains this type of muscle tissue. Cardiac muscle tissue, involuntary muscles. The muscles of the heart show rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout life. These involuntary muscles are called cardiac muscles. Heart muscle cells are cylindrical, branched, and unenucleate. Cardiac muscle tissue is a contractile tissue present only in the heart. Cell junctions fuse the plasma membranes of cardiac muscle cells and make them stick together. Communication junctions, known as intercalated discs, at some fusion points allow the cells to contract as a unit. This means when one cell receives a signal to contract, its neighbors are also stimulated to contract. Nervous tissue. Neural tissue exerts the greatest control over the body's responsiveness to changing conditions. Neurons, the unit of the neural system, are excitable cells. The neuroglial cells, which constitute the rest of the neural system, protect and support neurons. Neuroglia make up more than 1/2 the volume of neural tissue in our body. When a neuron is suitably stimulated, an electrical disturbance is generated which swiftly travels along its plasma membrane. Arrival of the disturbance at the neuron's endings or output zone triggers events that may cause stimulation or inhibition of adjacent neurons and other cells. All cells possess the ability to respond to stimuli. However, cells of the nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. The brain, spinal cord, and nerves are all composed of nervous tissue. The cells of this tissue are called nerve cells or neurons. A neuron consists of a cell body with a nucleus and cytoplasm, from which long, thin, hair-like parts arise. Usually, each neuron has a single long part, called the axon, and many short, branched parts called dendrites. An individual nerve cell may be up to 1 meter long. Many nerve fibers bound together by connective tissue make up a nerve. Nerve impulses allow us to move our muscles when we want to. The functional combination of nerve and muscle tissue is fundamental to most animals. This combination enables animals to move rapidly in response to stimuli.